How's it? Otherwise You Well? Welcome to another episode of Otherwise You Well, a comics approach to well-being. Today, I've got a guest who is actually one of, I see her practice. She's a practitioner that I go to. She's a biokineticist, and I'm very interested in sharing this kind of information with you as to how biokinetics have improved my well-being in general. And put your hands together for Tash Deley. Hi, Tash.
Hi, thank you very much for the intro. And thank you for having me on your show.
Yeah, thank you. I slipped my disc in my back, my lower
L4, L5, S1.
Okay, yeah, she knows the things. My back was sore. Well, it wasn't just sore. The disc hit my spine, and I was in a wheelchair for a couple of
Okay, so
days.
the scientific word is your disc prolapsed.
I had a prolapse. My disc prolapsed. All I knew is I went to a neurosurgeon. I went to a chiropractor. I went to physiotherapists. I went to sports physiotherapists. They put me on medication. They put me on painkillers. They wanted me to stay still and put me in a brace, and then have my back merge or converge
Fused.
or fused. And everybody that I went to, and I struggled for so long, nobody could help me. And I got your number from a friend of ours, and she was like, "Go see this lady. She'll help your back." And I tell you, even when I hurt my back again now recently, I saw her for one session, and my back was fine. I didn't even have to go for a follow-up. I don't know how good that is for your business that I don't have to come and follow up, but it was really good for my back.
It's fine for my business. It's not good for the public.
Okay, so tell me, what is biokinetics?
Okay, so the long and short of it is we're basically involved in the health industry. We are registered with the Health Professionals Council. We are basically involved with what we call pre- and post-operative rehabilitation, but we also do special populations, which include mental health, Parkinson's, pre- and post-pregnancy. We do a lot of preventative healthcare. We do corporate wellness. We do sports. So we cover quite a wide variety in terms of what's out there. But yeah, it's in the health industry. And I suppose for me, being the current president of the association, our focus going forward that we want the public to be aware of is that we're actually involved mostly with what we call non-communicable diseases, which is NCDs. So things like lowering your blood pressure, your cholesterol, diabetes, mental health, like all the things that you can't physically see, we can help.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Where do I start? So, yeah, if you come to a session for you, with you, how do I go, okay, listen, I've got an injury, or I don't have an injury, but I want to train in a way. What's the difference between a biokineticist and a personal trainer? That's a good question.
Okay, so firstly, we're a 4-year scientific degree, so we get a degree. We don't do a 6-month or 6-week course. And actually, to be completely honest with you, if your profession and where you're working is doing well, you should be working hand in hand with everyone. So once I get to a stage where I feel like I need to do personal training with you, that's when my target should end. Then my rehabilitation part is over, and then the personal trainer should take over in conjunction working with the bio. So no, we are not personal trainers or strength and conditioning coaches. It is a scientifically based exercise program that we do. So normally when a patient comes in to see me, the first consult consists of a lot of medical history. Probably majority of it is trying to get to the bottom of how and why you are actually seeing me. And then we do what we call an ergological evaluation. So we look at your strengths, your weaknesses, your flexibility, your posture, your biomechanical movement, and then we design the program based on your particular outcome. So it's not something that's cut and paste or generic. I can't do that because everybody does present differently with different aches and pains. So that's pretty much what the difference is between us. I think the more common question we get is, what's the difference between us and a physiotherapist?
Oh yeah, what is? I tell you why that was the question for me, because I would go and see you at the gym. So I get to the gym, and there's a biokineticist sign, and then there's the personal trainer sign, and I'm training with you, and how come I'm doing different stuff to what those people are doing, And then as soon as I stopped seeing you and I tried to lift heavy stuff without, the right types of things, considering a back injury, I landed up hurting myself again. So there's also with when a personal trainer who knows that I'm strong when I am strong, when I am fit, um, that I can lift very heavy things, but I might not be able to do them in a specific way because that can cause further damage.
Yeah, so in that instance, obviously, like I said, because it's scientifically based, we look at angles, we look at force, we look at um, it all makes, for us, it's all about the biomechanics of the body. You know, we retrain your biomechanical system so that you don't get the injury again. However, for example, a back issue does become a lifestyle maintenance. So as long as you're aware and you're coming, so often for me, I will do a once a month checkup with someone, and every now and then I will say to them, okay, maybe just come back and we can upgrade or change, or so that's how you monitor it. Technically, most of the personal trainers, I would imagine, work on a 12-week training system as well. It might just not be as scientific.
Right.
That's the only difference. But in terms of knowledge, I mean, a squat is a squat is a squat. Whether
Right.
a personal trainer does it or a Pilates instructor or I do it.
Right.
It's how you do it, how you load it, and at what time are you changing the loads, basically. Yeah.
Okay, and no shade to throw into those people. It's just, you know, if you have a something like a back injury, there's a distinction that needs to be made. Preventative care. Okay, when at what point do I need to come and see a biokineticist as a preventative measure of something?
This is my favorite part. So for me, I love the education around it. So in terms of corporate health, that's actually what we do quite a lot of. We run a lot of what we call screening health days. We start with blood pressure, cholesterol, glucose. Sometimes ignorance is not always bliss. It's better to know than and have a plan, especially if you've got history in your family of certain things like cholesterol, high blood pressure, diabetes, even neuro issues like Parkinson's or MS, or sometimes it's nice to do those screenings. And then that's where we go. So preventative wise, we like to guide you. Obviously, everybody knows, and I don't think, well, maybe I assume, and I shouldn't, but technically exercise is medicine. That is what it is. You know, we unfortunately butt heads a lot with pharmaceutical companies because we take away the prescription of certain medication, because if someone's mind and physical health is in good condition, chances are your issues like blood pressure would be lowered. Your diabetes would be better controlled. If your eating is right in conjunction with a good exercise program, your cholesterol can be lowered. So for me, I think at the end of the day, taking meds, if you have an option not to, then, and there's other avenues to try, that would be where we fit in, is that we just give you a better idea of where you can fit in. And, you know, people look at exercise and think, oh, geez, I have to go to a gym. I have to be with a personal trainer. And that's actually not the case. If you do housework at home, that's exercise. If you pushing your kid in a pram in a park, that's exercise. If you are lifting your groceries in and out of your car, that's exercise. It's just how you perceive your form of physical activity that can guide you on a daily basis. And that's what the bio is actually there for. It's to give you guidance, not to turn your world upside down and like not stick to a program. It's actually not even really about the program. It's about lifestyle changes.
I mean, you know, my life completely shifted and changed, and my whole approach to my wellness, if I'm not getting a certain amount of exercise. And the thing is, it's actually not as much as you think. It can be such a small amount. It can be like 40 minutes twice a week make a profound impact on your time. You know, like if I said to my mom the other day, I was like, you know, I do the bare minimum. You know, she's like, hey, I see that you're very, I said, I'm consistent. I'm consistent. I kind of just keep going, even if it's just very little. You know, like if you're getting a sauna, because sometimes, you know, when I haven't trained in a bit and I come to you and you're like, okay, cool, well, let's just ease into it and then go and sauna afterwards. So put your exercise things in a frame of mind that you enjoy the thing, you know?
Yeah, I think that's also important. You know, I often have people in my in my rooms. The first thing I ask them is, what do you absolutely hate doing? And then I avoid that because I don't want somebody to do something they don't like. I can work with a lot of different things to give you something that's enjoyable, that's, like you say, consistent, sustainable. And also I think a lot of people make the wrong decision to change too many factors in one go. So it's always better to just choose one thing. If it's exercise, just focus on the exercise. If it's diet, just focus on the diet. If it's sleep, focus on the sleep. If it's therapy, focus on the therapy. And then slowly integrate all the other things that will come together. So for me, yeah, I suppose it's small changes over a small period of time in conjunction as a whole. Yeah, it's not trying to. I find like when people want to change diet and exercise and whatever, it's overwhelming. And then you go to bed at night and you're like, oh shucks, I have to wake up tomorrow morning and I don't want to do this, and it's pointless. So for me, I think at the end of the day, people have to just be honest with themselves. Is it something that you can do? Can you sustain it? And do you enjoy it? Because if you don't, then maybe this is not the time for you to start.
Right. I mean, I remember doing a thing when I was trying to change my diet, and I just wasn't making the dietitian appointments. I wasn't like, it was just too overwhelming because we were doing biokinetics. I was changing this, I was changing that. And then I thought, okay, well, let me just get one meal a day correct.
Yeah.
So I just focused on breakfast. I was like, okay, if I can get my breakfast right. And then I just did that for like 3 months of just getting breakfast right. It completely shifted the way the rest of my day was going, and okay, cool. So if I can get training, if I can get to the gym twice a week, great. I mean, now I'm able to go because now I've got a system. I know this bag needs to be packed, that thing needs to go in the wash before, this is the shoes that I like wearing, da 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 da. Once you get that right, I can now even go. Sometimes I train twice a day, Tash.
Jeez.
Like, I know, can you believe
I
it?
wonder winter came early.
Yeah. Yeah, and also I'm in time management. Remember how hard
Yes.
time management was for me? I'm much better at time management. But like one thing at a time. Okay, so I'm an individual. I'm watching this thing, and I go, well, maybe I should come and see you. What's the first point? What is going to a biokineticist appointment look like?
Okay, so firstly, you can find a bio that's probably closer to you. That's the other thing I would suggest. Please don't find someone and go to them just because someone says. Sometimes it's also practical to go to someone close to you that is sustainable. I'm not saying that technically everyone is trained the same. Also, at the end of the day, I guess it's who you get on with and who you gel with. But I've often had people come from Pretoria and then I end up sending them back because I know they're not going to be consistent. It's too far to come for a session. I mean, regularly at least. So yes, on the website, it's www.biokineticsa.org.za. You can find one close to you, and typically what it looks like, if you do have an injury, chances are you've already seen a physio or an orthopedic surgeon or a specialist. You would just bring that information with you if you've had x-rays. And like I said, a lot of it you will obviously normally sign a consent form and all of those lovely things. And then, it's a full medical history that we take. It's an ergological evaluation. For me personally, I don't like to take too long on the first one. So I use my second session as a follow-up in terms of physical movement patterns, functional training, or functional movement patterns. And then I see what you potentially can do and then draw up the program. So you don't actually need a lot. You don't need a referral from a doctor. So if you do and you have watched this episode and it's something you're keen on, just pick up the phone. Most people will be able to give you guidance over the phone in what your next step should be. And also maybe who you should see, because if you are in acute phase, what I call something where your injury is very recent, you potentially might actually need to see a physio before us. Or if you need an alignment or an adjustment for some or other reason, then you might need to see a chiro before you see someone like me. But the biokineticist will be able to give you more information on that. But generally, that's the outline of what any consultation would particularly look like.
And where do these consultations happen? Because for me, you had a practice at the gym. So like, what do these rooms look like? Just so that you can have an idea. So I would go to the gym. There's a biokineticist office, and we use the same gym equipment in the same gym environment. Other times people have personal gyms. So it doesn't have to feel like you're missing out from the rest of the world. What do some of the practices
we have practices based in hospitals. So they see all the outpatients. We have practices that are private. We have some that are set up in Pilates studios where there's very minimal equipment. I wouldn't say the majority of bios are based in commercial gym setups like your big gyms or such, but a lot of them are based in medical centers as well, because then there's what we call a multidisciplinary approach. Okay. So you can walk into a room like you would an orthopedics room, and there'll be 4 of them. In our case, there'll be a physio, chiro, bio, and a doctor, for example. So I think each setup is different. Most of those are in a private practice setup. We've got a lot of bios practicing out of school. So if your children are looking for that, I mean, I had a practice at a school, and that worked really well. We worked well with the coaches, with the teams. So if you do have a child that's very active, that is something I would definitely consider doing as an evaluation prior to getting involved in like a first team or second team sport. And then we've got bios operating out of old age homes, or what we call retirement villages now, not so much old age home, where lifestyle is very important. I mean, I've taken a few classes, just basic movement classes, and I mean, that's amazing. The feedback from that is great. We work a lot in neurocenters. We've got people working with what we call exoskeletons for wheelchair. So anywhere from your paraplegic to tetraplegics, there's a lot. The options are endless. So at the end of the day, I think it's personal. You need to choose what suits you. I know a lot of people who don't like going to a gym. So a private bio would be better because you have a room set up with a little bed and a few balls and bands, and you can still do your assessment, and it's private. It's more one-on-one. I think it's a personal taste, I guess.
Okay, so I mean, we've covered so much ground so quickly. I totally understand. You're like half an hour to discuss all of this stuff. This is really quick. Also, you're just a very efficient person, which is amazing. Tash does not mince her words. Yeah, like, okay, cool. Here's all the information. Do with it what you want. I love it.
How long have we been doing this? I've been practicing for 21 years now. I think I've got a system going of even how to describe what happened. No, listen, it's to be completely honest with you, I think the biggest fear factor that I can put there now at the moment is AI. There's a lot of apps available that can probably check your own posture and check your balance and it's amazing, but you still need clinical sound advice of someone to put all that information together to see what best works for you. So probably, if you've got those apps, great, but just make sure that you understand what you're doing. Yeah.
And also just someone physically to monitor you, because you can't always see your form. Yes, you can stand in front of a mirror, but you can't necessarily see the movement of your hips at the back, or where you might be limping, or like any sort of incongruence in your body that needs to be addressed with an eye from the outside, or understand, oh, okay, cool, it shouldn't be hurting at this stage. Oh, or yes, that's a normal place for something to hurt. Because also pain, I've understood a lot about pain management over the years, that pain is a good sign for your body reminding you, oh, there was an injury here. I'm going to show you some pain so that you can protect yourself in the future. That doesn't necessarily indicate a new injury.
I think one thing I must maybe touch on there is that don't ever exercise in pain, because there is a receptor there for a reason. So when we work with our patients, we always like checking. We've got this, what we call an RPE scale. And it's like, where are you on that scale? Because you don't want to be pushing limits. I always try and it's very hard, when you have a medical brain and you're talking to someone who might not just understand. So we always talk about dull aches and sharp pains. So for me, there's a very distinct difference. If it's a dull ache and it's something that you can manage, that's great. Chances are it's generally muscular, or you're stretching a bit, which is fine. But as soon as you get sharp shooting pains, it's probably like your brain sign that's telling you, okay, wait, this is not good. I think you also need to understand your body quite well to understand where you can push yourself to. I'm also a bit of a, like you just said, not just efficient, but I think I push people. I'm more of an accelerated rehabilitation specialist. I also realize that people's time is very important. So it's very hard to manage. Like, I have a runner, and if I tell him not to run, he will leave me and go somewhere else.
Right.
Because ultimately, at the end of the day, that's his life. So I've got to manage him within his environments, but still get him to do what I need to do. So that's why I said in the beginning, I think it's very important that you as a patient or a person are honest with what you want to do. Because if you tell me, okay, I'm not going to run, meantime, that's all you ever want to do, then I can't help you. So
Absolutely.
it's managing that pain, managing that. And yes, guys, you will be sore. That's part of it. You're moving muscles, you're doing movements that you haven't done before. It's not a pain-free experience. It's an uncomfortable experience. But at the same time, like I said, there is that difference between sharp and dull ache and stuff. So if you're constantly in sharp pain, then something is wrong. And we need to reassess what movement patterns you're doing. But if you're stiff and you have a couple of muscles that are telling you, whoa, I actually exist, then that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Mental health and biokinetics. You do a bit of work with SADAG.
Yeah, so we've done some training with their on-call center or their on-call staff. Just basically whoever calls in, and if exercise is an option for anxiety or stress relief, obviously we want to explain what it is and what the benefits are. We've done a few classes with the staff themselves as well, so they get an idea of what it is. So for me, mental health is very important. I always say even to my parents. I'm like, I think I'm a psychiatrist first before I'm a therapist, rehabilitation specialist. Because it is, I said, it's managing someone's expectations. It's managing how they see. And, even myself, when I broke my wrist, for the first time, I could understand my own patients, because to not be able to do something you've always done, or not be able to achieve what you've always done, or just your hindrance in your day to day. Like, I was never able to wash my hair. I had to go to the hairdresser. Now, that for me was like ridiculous. Who doesn't wash their own hair? Or like, who can't drive, or who can't brush their hair? Like, but I understand it. So those are real issues. And if you're someone who does struggle with mental health, and then you have an injury on top of that, it's very hectic. And unfortunately for me, in my career, I have lost 2 patients to suicide because of mental health issues from an injury, because they couldn't handle the pain, and they couldn't handle not being able to get through every day without pain. Doesn't matter how many different therapies they tried, it just wasn't working. So I have had experience with that, and it's not great. So for us, we do understand the importance. I mean, those endorphins that people talk about, it's a real thing. But sometimes it also doesn't always work. So your multidisciplinary team makes a very big difference. And also, don't think you can fix everything yourself. You need to ask people for help. It's just how it is. Even in your exercise program, if you hate it, it's making you feel worse, then you must say so. Going home and not being able to cope is also not cool. So yeah, for me, I think there's a lot of relief out of exercise. And I use the term exercise, but I'm not just like referring specifically to gym. I'm just talking about any kind of movement that gets you out of your headspace. That, there's some classes that have started that are like sleep and sound classes. I think that's amazing. You lie in a dark room, they cover you in a blanket, and they play on a bowl. I mean, that sounds like heaven.
Yeah.
And you de-stress, but that is a form of exercise. You're switching your brain off. You're doing something for yourself. So
Changing your state.
yes, yeah.
Listen, Tash, thank you so much for all this information. I think if you're someone that's needs to learn about your body, whether you're suffering a different injury or something that has affected you, and you there's people that I want to send this to that can maybe help them, even if they don't think that they might be hindered, that actually there are people that can take a medical perspective into integrating activity into your life. I think that it helped me so much. And for those of you that have watched some of not just my mental health journey, but my physical journey, if you followed me 5 years ago, I'm a different person to look at.
Well, yeah, it came with lots of hard work. So
Yeah, it
good-
came
good
with
for you.
lots of hard work and lots of consistency, just showing up for yourself, but having somebody to guide you in a way where you just don't have the knowledge. And it's okay to not know stuff, because there are people that know stuff. So cool. Tash, what is the website again, please?
www.biokineticssa.org.za.
And they're found all around the country. There are practitioners nationwide. So wherever you are in South Africa, you can find a biokineticist near you. If you have any questions and you want to know, please let us know in the comments, and we will address them to Tash. We'll send some information your way. Thank you so much for watching. And that was another episode of Otherwise You Well. Bye.